Hello, welcome to the Art of the Oracle. I am very excited to be able to read. It's for this final day in September before we head into October. And I did put out a 3-card pick a card reading that should come out later today. So I hope you'll check that out. That was a lot of fun to do. I'm headed back to where we began this week with the Wisdom of the Elders and the Sacred Creators for clarity on what is coming through. I am feeling hopeful, but I'd love to hear what you think. Like, I'm hearing a lot of information about October being this really big, tumultuous month. So let's find out, for going through this weekend, what is the energies and what can we expect? What do we most need to know for this final day here in September? And if it's not September when you're seeing this, then I am feeling one of the cards is this. Yeah. So card number 16, around ceremonial sacred fire. And the first thing that I'm noticing is this is all women. And there is the magic of the dragonfly that is part of the honoring the sun, which is really a masculine representation of light and love, which, you know, every day when I do meditations and when I connect in to my central channel, which is really like along your spine, I connect in with Mother Earth and Father Sun. And so we have a lot of things going on having to do with the sun, with solar flares and lots of activity. And so it feels very interesting that this card is coming out right now. And I don't know that I've ever had this card out. I have had this deck for a little while, but I haven't, I don't think I've had the pleasure of this one. So I'm going to go. So in this deck by Shawn, Leonard, The Wisdom of the Elders, it is separated into several different areas of kind of study is the way that he, and I'm going to see if I can go and find where he categorizes them all. So yeah, we have the Wisdom of the Elders begins with the 7 grandfather teachings, the 4 sacred fire teachings, and this is one of those sacred fire teachings, and the 4 sacred medicines make up this deck. So if you're interested in it, I always link down in the description what they are. And this is what it says about the 3rd sacred fire in the sacred fire. It is one that fire keepers use for their ceremonies. It is a spiritual doorway to the spiritual realm, so that we can communicate with our relations from the beginning and the end of time. The ceremonial fire is used in all celebrations, whether a pipe ceremony or a sweet ceremony, probably using sweet grass. When someone dies, we have a sacred fire that burns for days, and many religious ceremonies do that. I mean, even the Catholics have something, like they have smoke of some sort that comes through during Mass. So regardless of the event, there is a sacred fire. So there's a role, which is what these women are. It's like they're the ceremonial sacred fire keepers. And it says the fire keeper's role of keeping the sacred fire going is important. The kindling and fuel with which you feed the fire has to be the best wood. You must not use damp or old wood. And it's all about intention, right? About honoring the purity of what is going on. You must, it says, when you make a prayer for the ceremony, you only say positive and good things. The prayers that you put into the fire connect with the smoke from the tobacco, and those prayers are carried up into the spirit world and the Creator. Now, obviously, this isn't going to resonate with everybody because you're not a Native American. Every time I work with someone, I use smudge, which is an Indian practice, a Native American practice of clearing the space. And I light the fire of the sage, and then I say a prayer asking for, you know, the cleansing of the space and to honoring my space and, you know, the table in which people rest upon, to be free and clear and sacred space for health and healing. So I think you'd be surprised at some, you know, at how many times in your world that you really do use this type of ceremony. So it says, as the smoke rises into the air, it carries the prayer higher into the heavens where the eagles soar. An eagle is the bringer of like higher wisdom and awareness, right? So we honor the fire itself because it's sacred. It connects us to the sun's sacred fire, right? Which keeps us alive here on the earth as well. And it connects, as we, let's see what it says. It connects us with the sun's sacred fire as we are one with that first light, and it helps us connect to the core of the earth, which creates our world. So it's like it's like an internal and an external, like as above, so below. So this card really asks us, it's like a reminder card of the sacredness of what ceremony is, and this practice that, you know, people used to be around campfires, and we even, you know, in Judaism, you light and you say a prayer when you light the candle during Shabbat. And when people pass and they go to church, or, you know, they light a candle in honor and in memory. And this is all about that, is about this sacredness of fire. And it asks you, it says, perhaps you may wish to light a campfire or light a candle and make an offering for prayer. So I'm going to look at the other cards that are surrounding this, because I think that there's a very important reason why this card came out, and it's showing women who mostly, you know, at least in like the Jewish faith, a lot of the practices are carried out by women. And this is about women who are honoring the wisdom and the awareness of the fire that we all use on a regular basis. And now we have Buffalo Spirit, which is about respect. And that is kind of what I was feeling here, is that it's almost, not almost, it's, what I'm getting from this is that there is a great need right now for us to honor these traditions of, there's a reason why we have all these ceremonies around the fire, right? That they're in traditions in nearly every religious practice, where at one point you're either lighting a fire to clear the path with the smoke, or you're lighting a fire to honor the sun or the earth or those who've passed. And then number 5 is respect, about, and it's using the buffalo. And this is asking you to look deeper into why it is that we have these ceremonial practices. This is very interesting, because I didn't know that that's the direction. And as you know, the bison was nearly eliminated from the, you know, Americas here because of our disrespect of the animal, where the Native American Indians honored the sun and they honored every part of the animal. They didn't just, because there was such an abundance of the animal, you know, people came and just took it because they can make money off of it. And there's something about this sacredness and the returning of that. So 1 and 6 is 7, which is around the choices that we have to bring back this sacred unity with all of life, and honoring and respect and creating the change to be able to do that. So I feel like, because there's so much drama and trauma going on in the world right now, that there is a really deep need for us to go back into ceremony. And instead of looking back into creating things that really didn't honor everyone, like something, you know, that's disrespectful to Native Americans or any type of race or religion, there's a unity that's created, that we all are part of the earth. We're all using the light and the warmth of the sun. And this is around, I feel like a unity within the earth, and the sun and all of life, asking us to honor the things. There's something, I feel there's something more. It's interesting because I keep feeling like there's so can you give me clarity, please, around card number 16? Okay. I have 2 cards here. Yeah, see, isn't that interesting? Get back to elemental, yeah. And then create water. So, yeah, it's asking us, what is elemental? It's the basic foundation of respect, of honor, of tradition, of opening our heart, of being in communion around something that we can all agree upon, instead of war and division and greed and, finding fault with everybody else. There's an opportunity for us to kind of get back to, sacred water is within all of us. So it's interesting that you have this fire ceremony and then the water. And then I'm talking about the way it used to be when buffaloes, could run the land. It's the same all across the world, right? There used to be massive amounts of elephants that, they communicate with the earth, their hoofs pounding on the earth. It's almost like the Indian drums, right? And it's communicating with the earth. They don't ask for anything except for peace and harmony and to be in right relationship with the sacredness of what our planet is. And so this, I know, feels very different. Like people just want to go and have fun over the weekend and party and watch football. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. But there is something very near extinction, which is why I think the buffalo came here, which is this common decency, the common awareness that we are part of something very, very special here, very unique on the planet at this moment, at this time. And I know there are many, many people that feel the reverence of what's happening on the planet now, the shift and the change. And there are a lot of people that are in deep fear. And I think that if we all go back into what's important, and it's interesting because we have the masculine, feminine in this element right here, in the circle of the whole. And then the feminine represented here as the great creator. And the earth itself is mostly water. And I think we're in this creative energy right now. It's asking us to look deeper into why we're here. We're in here, yes, to enjoy ourselves, but it's more than that. We've lost the sacredness of these gatherings. And we've lost the sacredness. We're gathering around football, which is really around brutalizing each other, running into and hitting and competition and needing to win. And that is more celebrated than a fire ceremony that honors like Native American tradition, or honors the sun, or honors the earth. Those are what we used to have before we decided that competition and things like this were more important than communion. And I'm so sorry if this feels like, like a bit of a, like a downer as we look at, the weekend and having fun and going out and being in the boat, or, washing the car, whatever it is that you do on the weekend, even if it's watching football. But we can do both. But we've lost this. And it's just like the buffalo, which is trying to make a comeback. So are the sacred ceremonies around life. And we have forgotten who we are, and we've lost like the feeling within our heart to be deeply connected to something really primal and inherent within all of us, which is love and energy around the earth and plants and growth and expansion and creation. These are like foundational things that I think it's asking us to remember and to celebrate through the wisdom of this sacred fire ceremony. But I also think that it's an omen of what's to come through fire. think it's something that we are going to learn the sacredness of the land and what fire really is here on the planet. I don't know why I'm saying that, but that's what it feels like. It feels like there is a need really to communicate with this type of energy, right? To create balance. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have an absolutely beautiful weekend. And if you get a chance, check out the 3-card pick a card reading, which asks you, you know, like, what is it that I need in times of change? So I hope you find that helpful. And until next week, have a beautiful weekend. Bye now.